Alright, hello guys, how's it going? In today's video, we actually have a real snowstorm to talk about in the central United States that is coming up very soon. It is unclear if it'll be minor or major at this point, but it has the potential to be either. Alright, now before we get into the video, be sure to smash that like button, leave a comment down below, and subscribe for more weather-related content. For today's comment of the day, I want to know, what do you think is the maximum amount of snowfall we see with this snowstorm? Let me know in the comments down below, and I'll be picking one of those for tomorrow's video. Now let's get straight into things. We're taking a look at the GFS model first. We'll take a look at the European model at the end as well. And we have a storm up there for the northwest, bringing some snowfall for those mountainous regions of Washington and Oregon. We also have that nor'easter offshore. It ended up being offshore. But for here in Virginia, I don't know about areas further north. It brought a lot of rainfall and a lot of windiness. And I know for the southeast, it did as well for Florida, Georgia, South Carolina, and North Carolina as well. But for the northeast, it's going to be further offshore and bring less impacts. Now let's zoom into the west. Let's move this towards about, let's say 2 p.m. on Tuesday, November 9th here. And as you can see, we have some snowfall going on now for the mountainous regions of the west. California, Oregon, Washington, but now also Idaho, Wyoming, and Utah, as well as a little bit of Montana as well. So we have multiple regions seeing snowfall with this snowstorm, and this is what is eventually going to move up into the upper Midwest and a lot of the central regions of the United States and bring snowfall for those regions as well. This storm will also include a lot of rainfall for the eastern United States, as this is going to be a strong low pressure system with a strong cold front associated with this. And it is actually going to be what's the catalyst for our warm up that is upcoming to eventually end and go back to a cool down. So this storm is going to really bring those cold conditions back. I know it's hard to believe because we're in the cold conditions right now, but it will warm up and then it will cool down. Let's take a look at about morning hours of Wednesday, November 10th. So we're 2 days from now by this point. And as you can see, snowfall for the Rockies and a bit of the Northwest, but not too intense yet. And it's by time we're reaching about Wednesday afternoon and looking at the central United States that we can see things really coming together. We see some precipitation building in the central United States. We still see some snowfall for the Rockies, but we also see that snowfall up there for North Dakota and Minnesota. This is that snowstorm we're talking about in this video, beginning to come together. And by the time we reach approximately the AM hours, the very early AM hours of Thursday, November 11th, we can really see this one coming through. We can see a 998 millibar low pressure system has developed around the border of Minnesota and Wisconsin. It's bringing rainfall from Texas all the way to Canada, so all the way up from a south to north basis. It has rainfall ongoing. We do see that snowfall is building for northern Minnesota here by this point, especially northern Minnesota, where we have very heavy snowfall there for the northern third of Minnesota or so. Now, this snowstorm is going to wrap around and begin to really bring snowfall further south in a little bit. It's going to bring that cold air in, and therefore it is going to bring the snowfall into many different regions, heavier snowfall as well. And that low pressure system is going to continue to develop. So we're going to move on and take a look at all of those things. All right, now here is by time we're reaching about the afternoon hours of Thursday, November 11th. And as you can see, this low pressure system, I'm trying to look very closely. I think it's a 991 millibar low pressure system over northern Wisconsin here by this point. You can see a lot of snowfall ongoing for the south central regions of Canada as well. This is eventually going to wrap around and come down again. A lot of that snowfall into the northern United States. We'll see that happen. But notice there's a lot of heavier rainfall along that cold front. You can physically see where it is from about Louisiana to Wisconsin by this point. You can physically see this ongoing. You can also see that trough moving in as well. And by time we reach about 2 a.m. on Friday, this is when things are very clear. We see that snowfall diving into North Dakota, Minnesota, South Dakota, and even Iowa by this point. And that rainfall has pushed further east. Now it's impacting Michigan, Ohio, Kentucky, Tennessee, Alabama, and Georgia as well. And this is going to push all the way to the East Coast as that cool down really moves in. So the warm-up hasn't even moved in, and we're already taking a look at the end of it by the time we're reaching the 12th. So that makes it very clear how brief this warm-up really is going to be. Let's take a look at about later on the morning on Friday, November 12th, and we can see that snowfall has really moved into Wisconsin now, Iowa, South Dakota, North Dakota, and Minnesota. It's not necessarily heavy for most regions. It is moderate at this point for Minnesota and the Dakotas. It was a little bit heavier earlier on, and that's what's really going to bring these heavy totals here on the GFS model, which right now is the most bullish as far as snowfall totals in general. We can see that cold front has reached the coastal regions, and that means the cold is going to be moving in around this point for those regions. And by the time we reach about, I would say, approximately the very, very late evening hours of Sunday, November 12th, we could see some snow showers still ongoing for the upper Midwest and the Great Lakes, potentially some lake effect enhancement ongoing as well. But it is weakening in general, the snowfall for these regions. The cold front is along the eastern seaboard by this point. And let's take a look at that total snowfall in just a moment. So what we're going to do is we're going to move on, take a look at that, and then take a look at what the European model has to say as well, compare and contrast what the two show, and then we're going to close out the video. So here's the GFS model's total snowfall, and as you can see, if you're anywhere in the grays, you're taking a look at under 2 inches of snowfall. Once we move up into those blues, that's where we're at the 2 to 6 inch amount. So that's basically exclusive for North Dakota, South Dakota, and Minnesota at this point. The reason why in the thumbnail I expanded upon these areas is because I see the potential with that cold air that if the snowstorm does anything differently, like if it hits later, if it's a little bit more intense, if the precipitation is more widespread, this snowstorm would be a much more widespread snowstorm. So there's a lot that can change in the next 90 hours or 100 hours or however many it is. It would really change the course of this snowstorm. But for now, this is the main regions we're watching for. And anywhere in the blues, we're taking a look at about 2 to 6 inches of snowfall. In the purples, it's going to be about 6 to 10. And then in the pinks, it's going to be about 10 to 20. And we even see some of those pastels showing up for northern Minnesota. That is 20 inches plus. So we're taking a look at potentially 2 feet of snowfall for very far northern Minnesota. So super interesting snowstorm we have on our hands. Here's the European model quickly, and as you can see, by the time we're reaching about Tuesday morning, this is going to be, again, November 9th, or tomorrow from the time I'm making this video, we have heavy snowfall along the western mountains there, even the Rockies as well, just like the GFS model. And by the time we reach Wednesday morning, things begin to transition here towards the central United States. We do see some snowfall there for the Rockies, but not much is coming together yet. And by the time we reach very late on Wednesday, we see this storm is developing for the central United States. Things are a bit different this time around, though. Things are a little bit weaker, a little bit less snowy as well. And then by the time we reach about late on Thursday, this maybe is about 8 or 9 p.m. or so, maybe even 7. And as you can see, that trough has moved in. That cold front is very vigorously moving towards the eastern United States. But that snowfall just is not impacting the United States as much as it was on the GFS model. I think what's happening here is this snowstorm moves in later than what it did on the GFS model. And that just goes to show what I said a minute ago. The timing is everything. The timing could completely change the course of this storm. And also how widespread the precipitation is. But we do have a 991 millibar low pressure system. We do have snowfall for the upper peninsula of Michigan, the northeastern regions of Minnesota, and then also northern Wisconsin as well. A little bit of a different location. But by the time we reach about the afternoon hours of Friday, November 12th, you can tell that this storm does dip down afterwards, just like the GFS model showed. But this will not be enough to get the same totals as the GFS, because the GFS had that snowfall beginning before the dip down happened, and we just get a lot less snowfall this way. We can see heavy precipitation ongoing for the northeastern United States. There will be some flooding concerns with that cold front, as it will be very, very potent. And by the time we're reaching about the late hours of Friday, you can see this one is weakening. There is some snow showers around. We could see that trough is in the eastern United States by the 13th. The 12th into the 13th, but really the snowstorm has died down by this point. And once we take a look at these snowfall totals, you can tell it is a bit weaker. We do have those widespread 2 to 6 inch amounts, but we have really scattered 6 to 10 inch amounts, and hardly even 10 inches plus there for northern North Dakota, and I mean very hardly, about 9 or 10 inches of snowfall perhaps. So much weaker on the European model. At this point, our confidence is about a 4 out of 6 in general for this snowstorm to happen, with 2 to 6 inch amounts or even 6 to 10. But our confidence would be much lower if we were talking exclusively about 10 inches plus or especially 20 inches plus. So at this point, we need more time. I will be likely updating this snowstorm, and it could be more intense than what these models are showing. It could be less intense, or perhaps like the European or like the GFS. But for right now, there's a lot of options on the table. There's a lot we don't know. The one thing we do is that a potential snowstorm is going to move in. All right, for today's comment of the day, I asked you guys yesterday, when do you think a real winter pattern is going to set in? Is it going to be a late set in, an early set in? And James Marr said, I believe the last week of November we will really get into a real winter pattern. And I definitely think this could be true with the cooldowns. We're expecting that Arctic oscillation is dipping. The PNA is looking more positive. Things are setting up for a nice early start to the winter. Does that mean December is going to be cold? Absolutely not. We could be cold for the later portion of November, and then December could be warm. But for now, it looks like at least the later half of November looks very, very potently cold. For today's patron highlight of the day, I want to thank you all for supporting the channel, but especially our platinum patrons, Bill Crates, James Wade, Dovey Nagel, Larry LePan, Mandy Birchfield, and Patrick Strickland as well. I would also like to thank our diamond patrons, Bo Roberts, Marcus Connolly, Noah Harley, Michael Codalesa, Catbite, Charles Stinnett, Cindy Klein, Alan Goodmaben, Bill Dallas, Gary, John Colisi, Dwight Phelan, Stephen Crenenthal, and Thomas D. Barr as well. I would also like to thank our channel members, Catbite, Stephen Fan, and Jeremy Cox also. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. Be sure to smash that like button, leave a comment down below, and subscribe for more weather-related content. I'll see you guys in the next video.